Hey Andy, how you doing?
Hey, it's good to be here. Thanks, Mike. Good intro, by the way.
Thank you. I might play with it instead of have it spin. I was gonna try and have it just kind of come in.
Chris, let everybody see his shirt.
All right. Let's see.
Roger Stone did nothing wrong. Hey, all right. Hope he feels the same way about Mike Shirley.
I hope he feels that way about a lot of people. I think he does.
Oh, Richard Nixon at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I read that book he did on Nixon, and to hear him talk about that, I remember listening to Joe Rogan's podcast a lot, and he had Bill Murray on, and Bill Murray read the book that the guy that did all the stuff on Nixon. I read the book about John Belushi, and he's like, I was 5 pages in, and I basically said, "Oh my God, they framed Nixon," because all the bullshit that they wrote about Belushi, he knew him, he was best friends with him. It was all just fake. So, it's the world we live in, and it's always been going on for a long, long time.
Yep. History written by the victors.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a little different. Obviously, people we've had on are either going through right now, or it's usually spouses. You're advocating for your friend Mike Shirley.
Yeah.
So, let's go back on just how you guys are friends first, so we can kind of, obviously, we want to know about you, but we want everybody to know about Mike more. Not to discredit you, but this.
Yeah, I'm just one of Mike's many friends. Now we're work wives basically, so that might count.
Yeah.
But, no, I've known Mike for about 5 years. I've known of him a lot longer. He's a very well-known consultant. He's worked for the NRA. He worked for Rick Perry, Rick Scott, the Alaska Republican Party, you name it. All these congressional candidates, some won, some lost. And anyway, he was working on my friend Tim Kelly's campaign in Cedar Park. Got to know him very well here. We flipped a Democrat seat very quickly. Mike and I worked together to flip a Democrat seat in Austin. We took back a District 6, as a matter of fact, Northwest Austin. And that was a massive turnaround story. It should have made national news, but the mainstream media didn't like that one bit. Yeah. So we ran some other campaigns. Rupal Chaudhry, a good friend of ours who fought a homeless shelter in Austin and decided to go ahead and run for county judge. And she outraised the Democrat, did not win, but we had a great time with it. Mike was actually managing my campaign for mayor of Leander, Texas, just northwest of Austin. And I came in second, got the silver medal, beat the former mayor, but not the current mayor. It was a great run. But my consultant lasted maybe 2 weeks because he was in jail. I lost my consultant. Now, Mike had told me before that he was being investigated by the weaponized DOJ. And I said, Mike, don't worry about it. They're looking for any and all reasons to find a tentacle underneath Donald Trump and make that, 1 out of 100 reasons why they want to prevent him from getting a second term. I don't think they're actually going to throw you in jail over this investigation. Well, they did, to make a very long story short. Happy to talk more about it, but he did absolutely nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, his defense team prevailed during the first trial, but they changed the indictment and went after him on different charges. So if that tells you how desperate they were to put anybody in jail they possibly could, then go to freemikeshirley.net and learn more.
So you're in Texas then, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah, Austin, Texas. Yeah, not like Austin, Nebraska, or anything like that.
Yeah. No, I was just making sure.
Free Austin. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted to go there, but
it's great. Come on by sometime. We'll get you some barbecue.
Yeah, I heard there's some really good food out there, actually, and
good eating.
Actually, normal people. I'm in California.
Well, we got a good mix out here. I'll say that much.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to get into a little bit more on how they targeted them, let's just so we can kind of have some backstory.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what a podcast is good for. Yeah. To kind of go back a little bit, Mike used to have a policy of he would work for a campaign, and then he might consider working for an official after they've taken office. He'd go from campaign consultant to office communications and strategy. And so he did that for a gentleman named Joel Greenberg. And I say gentleman with quotation marks because he's anything but. This was around 2016. This was back the red wave that took out a lot of liberals in Florida, and Mike walked right in with Joel, and he became communications consultant for the Seminole County tax assessor's office. And Seminole County is around the Orlando area. And anyway, to summarize a little bit about what happened during that 4-year term, Joel got caught with child pornography. Joel was not a good person. Mike was not going to continue his contract, needless to say. It was a decent relationship. It was a good paying job. Matter of fact, he made less than what most contractors would make at that job. He had his company contracted to the tax assessor's office, doing mailings, strategy, public relations campaigns, things that basically need to be out there via mail, via internet, stuff that a consultant would know how to do. But what happened was when that happened, that resulted in a series of trials in Florida and on the federal level. It gets a little more complicated when we find out that Joel was a friend of Matt Gaetz. If you know former Congressman Matt Gaetz, he's also a very well-known show host lately. Matt Gaetz was a good friend of Donald Trump's, obviously. And the weaponized DOJ under Team Biden, I won't say Joe Biden himself because I think he was not really present, but the Biden regime anyway, they were again looking for any and all tentacles underneath the Trump administration, anything they can do to prove guilt by association. So they found out that Joel Greenberg was involved with this child porn situation and other charges, and went after everybody they could underneath Joel. Mike Shirley was one of them. They said, well, Shirley was Shirley was part of this, right?
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't, but that didn't stop the DOJ from coming up with a bribery theory. And I'll stop right there if you got any questions.
So they changed the charges later, just because they couldn't find anything to stick. Sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah. And there's nothing on a state level or a local level. Yeah, that might not be allowed. Might be a mistrial right there. We don't want to go to the Judicial Ethics Commission, right? But who do you go to?
Now with a judge, are you nuts? He's going to let them do whatever they want.
At the federal level, yeah, nobody to stop him, right? So they did that. They tried to get him on bribery. They even had a check that Mike Shirley had written to his tax assessor for a business fee. Like, you write in some states, you write, your car registration or a tax payment directly to the tax assessor, and you mail the check. They had that in a stack of evidence saying, he's trying to bribe Joel Greenberg. The problem is Joel Greenberg, if you don't know who this guy is, he is the son of a man who owns about 20 dental clinics all across southern and central Florida anyway. This man is a millionaire. He has a trust fund. You would have to have tens of millions just to begin to bribe Joel Greenberg. But they took these little, pissant payments that Mike had made. They even took a check he had written for reimbursing an office for furniture and tried to say, okay, this is a kickback scheme for his sweetheart deal working for the office as a consultant. Now, they shot that down during trial. So what they did is they reached into the toolbox and pulled out their favorite Swiss Army knife, which is honest services fraud. Have you ever heard of honest services fraud?
It's the second time we're hearing about this one.
It must be the theme for this week. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the theme since 1987, actually. Anytime they get desperate, they pick out this little Swiss Army knife they can use for anything. But what's interesting about the Mike Shirley situation is that as his sentence was being decided, the Supreme Court handed down a decision that said basically don't use honest services fraud. It's rife with problems. It's too vague. Just don't use it. But by then it was a little bit too late. And on top of that, Mike's not a public official. His company was a contractor for a county tax assessor's office. So there's really no reason why he should be considered a public servant, except for the fact that they use this to mean whatever they want to, and there's no accountability whatsoever. So they went after him on honest services fraud. A juror went home. They replaced the juror. The replacement juror was over at, Fort Lauderdale at the time and didn't want to be bothered, so she went and hung Mike and went home. But the jury voted to get Mike on honest services fraud, whatever that means. And I honestly don't think the jurors had any concept of what was going on. All of the evidence was high level, theoretical, novel judicial theory. Nothing really about the nuts and bolts about what happened. All very, high level and, in the ether.
Well, yeah, and I mean we've seen this over and over again when we talk to people about jury and jury selection. It's not a jury of your peers. I mean, we've had doctors on that there was no doctors in the jury, so how how can they differentiate what was really going on? Because it's above. I don't like to use it. I don't want to belittle them, but like above their pay grade. They don't. Most people in the jury aren't all doctors, so the same thing with that. When it gets to a complicated case, they don't know. Like they're checked out. We've heard like they usually just rely on what the government's saying against the person because that's how people have been kind of trained. I mean, the government's usually always right. I mean, that's what's in the media.
Yeah, you can't fight City Hall, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and that's really what I've run into. Mike knows a lot of people. We've gotten a lot of people elected, and asking people to stick their neck out for him has been difficult. And even myself, I'm looking into this this Mount Everest of judicial theory. It's a case law that I'm sorry, I don't have a law degree. I got a journalism degree, and that's worth something, I guess. But I didn't really cover courts that much. But looking at it, I thought, well, maybe he is a scoundrel. Maybe there's a 1% chance that Mike did do something wrong. And I looked and looked. I talked to attorneys. I talked to his defense team. I talked to everybody I could, and nobody could find any reason. I still can't. I mean, I might find a moral failing here and there, but this is not the moral court. This is a court of law. It's supposed to apply actual law to circumstances. And that's not what happened. But what got me was, even I was thinking, okay, is there something in here I'm missing? And why should it be that complicated to begin with? I don't know. It's maybe where our founding fathers failed. Perhaps we should look a little deeper into that sometime. Maybe our judicial system is broken in that way. But unfortunately, I'm involved because I worked with Mike closely. He's a good friend of mine. He doesn't have a lot of close friends, doesn't have a lot of family, actually. And nobody, even those he got elected to office, are willing to take that risk unless I've got, 5 or 6 hours to sit down and explain a very long situation and bring an attorney with me to fill in the blanks. And you just can't do that very easily. So it's been very slow and going trying to get people to endorse the Free Mike Shirley effort and write a letter and even just stick their neck out with a donation. It's a wake-up call, and even famous people probably have that difficulty. Tina Peters didn't because she's, was a county clerk in Colorado, of course. But fortunately, enough people had known her that, and she's still having difficulties even being somewhat famous in her state.
Yeah.
But the only way she's getting anywhere is because she's become a household word. But somebody like Mike, we just haven't gotten to that critical mass yet. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But this has been a very difficult thing. And anybody that finds himself, I guess, a quote unquote nobody and in the crosshairs of the Biden regime is going to find themselves in a similar situation where the Trump administration may not ever hear of them or prioritize their cases, no matter how legitimate they may be.
Well, yeah. And I mean, obviously all of us and other people like you've obviously met too, Andy, and I'm sure Mike and I, it's a lonely path, but then I think it's just one of those things we have to make noise to get to that level, because if you don't, it's no fault against President Trump. If he doesn't know about a case, how can he help? Like it's simple as that. At least in my theory, like that's why I kind of went very loud and strong and did things kind of in a creative manner, because
we're always at the bottom of the list unless we're famous.
Right. I don't even want to say famous unless we're known.
Unless we're
never wanted to be famous. I never wanted to be on I do a
I
podcast.
Want to be famous. I never thought in my life I'd have to do this.
Yeah.
Or you got $10 million, that'd be nice too.
Yeah. Let's go back for a second though, like, because you did mention Mike and his personal life or family. Like, what was that like? Like, who was Mike Shirley, the guy?
Yeah. Well, Mike is he's a classic nerd, A lot of us are, right? I'm kind of a geek. I'm more of a geek. I think a nerd is somebody who's got the technical gravitas, and a geek is somebody who has more general knowledge and might like Star Trek a lot. I'm a geek.
I tell my son he's really into dinosaurs, and he's very. I mean, if anyone could ever want to create a Jurassic Park in real life. I think it could be because he's very smart in science. And I told him, I'm like, like I was the opposite. I was more, I don't want to say cool kid, but like played sports, did that stuff growing up. And he's kind of the opposite. But I just told him, well, you know what? You're going to be those kids' bosses someday. Like give him that motivation because he has what he excels in. So
he's got that hook, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He's very Elon Musk kind of when you talk to him. Like he's kind of got that personality, but at 14. So
you're a blessed man. All my kids are musicians, so
noisy.
I'm in for a rough retirement. But
oh yeah, exactly. Like you're right.
Right. Well, going back to Mike, he's good at what he does, and him and I are a great team. I'm more of the communications, right brain, 50,000-foot view guy, and he can get in there and come up with a voter universe and figure out a way to, take on a 90% Democrat district. He's that kind of technician, and I really look forward to working with him. But that makes him also very dangerous and also a good target for, a rogue regime like the Biden administration was. Unfortunately, Mike is like a lot of people in this country. They don't have a lot of connections. You work your job, you got a lot of people you work with, but your social circle is very small. He had a girlfriend he was very close to. He had a dog, and that was about it. A lot of us he kind of worked with and former clients, and we were all friendly, but none of us really felt like we were besties with him. Yeah. And come to find out, he's got a small family. He's got a mom and dad back in Orlando. They're struggling with health issues. And while he was in jail, his dog died. His girlfriend broke up with him, and his mom's health situation got worse. And, there's only so much a small social circle can do like that. So a lot of us really had to step it up. And I had no idea just how vulnerable people are. So I started thinking about my neighbors and other people I work with in politics, and just like, wow, we've really got to network better. And maybe it's just a sign of the times. I don't know. But Mike isn't really, antisocial. He's just like anybody else in politics, honestly. And it's a real wake up call for a lot of us, those that believe the story anyway. And like you said, Chris, about making noise, it's that careful line between being smart about it and making a whole bunch of racket and hype. Because anytime I've really gotten loud, like I had a Free the Political Prisoners rally, and I had the founder of the Oath Keepers show up, and it was awesome. It's a great meeting, had about 100 people show, and it's wonderful. But I had a lot of my consultant friends write me and say, Mike's a crook, Mike's guilty, stay away from him. And I said, can you, as a friend, can you give me maybe 5 minutes of your time and tell me why? Well, of course they couldn't. But their knee-jerk reaction was, Mike's a crook. Why? Because the establishment said so. So you get into that situation where even your secondary and your tertiary social connections still need that convincing. And so it's a really hard, the social element's pretty difficult too. And a lot of people don't realize just how much you need that just to raise funds and to make the noise that Tina Peters has been able to do. The pro-life prisoners were able to do because they had the John Paul II Foundation. They were able to raise money and reach a niche market. The J6ers had, the media on their side. Obviously, they were the tip top of the media dialogue for a month and a half. But a lot of these situations, Mike included here, we're just not able to do that as easily. Not to say we can't. We just got to figure out that secret elixir to get there and be heard, not just listened to.
And Tina Peters is a big deal, and she doesn't get a lot of mainstream media coverage, if any.
Well, she's had some, but it's not like top story.
I mean, no, that should be right. It should be. How is you going to put it? For her reporting the machines were changing the votes. That's all she did. She spoke out against it. And you're going to put a 70-year-old woman in jail for 9 years. Did he was trafficking people, he gets 4. Double-edged sword, right?
Jeez, yeah.
All the people in the episode get none.
So basically, Mike, I would say he's more of an introvert. I'm assuming.
He's that guy that walks the line. He's very personable. You wouldn't know he's an introvert, but he is.
But he obviously he was more, I would say, focused on career than family.
I wouldn't say that exactly, but
Okay.
I think that's what happens when you're really into what you do.
Yeah, and
You
you're
forget.
and I'm not saying he did that on purpose. Like that's sometimes just happens. Like I know
Yeah.
people too. Like they just kind of get in the zone of work, and 10 years passing by, and they're like, "Wait a second!" Like I have friends that are a couple years older than me, and they're still single, and just we're focused on career. And there's not. I'm not saying anything
Yeah.
wrong. I was just.
Or you make the move from Florida to Texas. And I made the move from one part of Texas to another about 10 years ago. And yeah, if it wasn't for a good church I found, I wouldn't have had anybody. I wouldn't have known where to get my car fixed or that kind of thing. So it really helps to have that social connection. But again, real eye opener for a lot of us here, even in friendly old Texas.
Yeah. So did you go to the trials for him or no?
No, they were all in Miami, so I wasn't able to make it over to Orlando, actually. Yeah, so we beamed in. They got a lot of coverage in the Orlando media. The Orlando Sentinel and all the TV stations were there about every day. It was a major deal because of Joel Greenberg's, the county clerk we mentioned earlier, the county tax assessor earlier. With the child pornography, that made it really hot, and his connection to Gates and Trump made the media very interested. So once those other indictments were being served, there was no lack of coverage. Now, of course, that coverage has basically gone away. I've tried to get some mainstream media press on anniversaries of certain decisions and trying to do a "Where is Mike Shirley now" story, but they're just not quite there yet.
Well, I'm assuming they were there before because they were hoping it would help bring Trump down, and now that didn't happen, they don't want to have anything to deal with it.
Sure. And I don't mind negative coverage, because when you get negative media coverage, you get positive conservative media coverage. And we're trying to reach Donald Trump. He's an audience of one that we have to reach. And we know which blogs he reads. We know which sites he goes to. We know which ones. And so as long as we're getting that, then we hope he'll just be familiar with it. And when that paperwork crosses his desk in the Oval Office, oh, yeah, Mike Shirley, right. Okay, let's get him out, and back to whatever he's doing. Back to Diet Coke and Big Mac, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what happens.
So you know what stuff he's actively reading?
Yeah, we understand from former White House people that worked in the White House that he reads like the Daily Caller, some other publications. I need to look at the list, but yeah, we know he reads a lot of conservative media. You'd be surprised. Now some smaller blogs he's really a fan of. Yeah,
you posted in one of them or multiple or.
Oh, we've hit a lot of them. Yeah, go to freemikeshirley.net and you'll see we've gotten some good coverage in the Center Square, the Federalist, some other publications you might recognize too. But working on the American Spectator next, and a couple other good hits. But yeah, we're doing it. But again,
about our group as a whole, and Mike Shirley's obviously part of it.
Oh man, I'm hoping to get all of us on board. I want to just really do a deep dive and learn about everybody's situation and write kind of just an omnibus about. All 12 or 14 of us kind of confederated on this effort.
Yeah,
me and Chris's clock's against us, so we have to work fast.
Well, I wonder if there's a way to buy like ad space on those sites too.
That's good.
That's the way
we can share the list. Yeah,
it's not a bad idea. Yeah, I would geolocate to Washington D.C. see if you can buy the ad in D.C. So that way it shows up on. What they're looking at, where they're at.
Well, that's what I was doing with all the commercials that I was putting out. Like I would have it geotagged either in DC and you can do it by zip code, and then also the zip code for Mar-a-Lago. So
very smart, yeah.
And then you can also you can do a lot even more specific, because you can run it on just specific, more right-leaning apps on TV and stuff like that. So we did like Fox News, Fox Nation.
Yeah.
OANN. I mean,
OANN.
Sorry, my dyslexia was going in right there. So, so what was his sentence?
His sentence was 7 years and 4 months on honest services fraud, and unfortunately, last month he lost this appeal. Similar grounds, just more theoretical BS.
And when did he get sentenced?
I'd look at the date. It was 2024.
Okay, so he's been in almost a couple of years.
Yeah, he's been in over a year. He's doing good. Now we're hoping about 2 years we'll be able to get him out on a supervised release. He can be eligible for a halfway house and that kind of thing. But And in the meantime, there's a lot of things you don't think about, like what happens to your car, who has power of attorney over you if you're not married or if your family lives in a different state. So a lot of us have had to come together and, rent out a storage shed. I'm driving his car around. It's been kind of a helpful thing. It's got a nice little automatic tailgate I've gotten addicted to. So, but things like that. But you think, okay, how am I going to register the car? How am I going to get it inspected? Stuff like that comes up, and it's very difficult. And even then, there's a lot of logistics with media too. They don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to Mike. And getting an interview from jail is not easy. There's a lot of time restrictions, and they don't want multiple calls. We couldn't do StreamYard very easy. Joint phone calls been hard to come by. So there's ways you can skate by in a minimum security lockup, but sometimes when you're in between places, it's a media blackout. So again, not being the guy has been a little difficult too, especially when you talk about OAN and Newsmax. They want the face. They want somebody to come on and talk, and they don't want me. Yeah. But maybe if we can work on that too, that'd be good. Maybe get some rights for prisoners to represent themselves on camera.
Because he's in a camp, I'm assuming.
Yeah, camp, minimum security. So not the worst situation, but they still got him, work in the kitchen, and they got cameras on you. Yeah, they got cameras on you when you sleep now. So think about that, just how.
Oh yeah, my wife was just in a camp for a year, so she's in a halfway house right now.
Oh, what happened to your? Yeah, tell me about your wife's situation. I read a little bit about it, but
so it's both of us. So we just got our sentences staggered, but
okay,
it all stemmed from the big net they cast on all the fraudsters on PPP loans. We had owned businesses. We actually were in pre-production for a TV show in Hawaii about organized crime and government corruption. Hawaii in the 90s. It was a fictional character, but surrounded by true events. And even before applying, I remember COVID like it was yesterday, and I was just reaching out, asking for advice because I didn't know if we were even eligible for getting it for the TV show, because we didn't have historical payroll, but we did have a budget that had been in place for over a year for future payroll. And so that's what I literally asked, and one of the loan originators basically wrote back saying, yeah, you can use projections. And we've had traditional SBA loans for businesses in the past, and you basically have to provide like anywhere from 36 to 48 months of projections to get an SBA loan, because they want to see if you kind of know what you're doing.
Right.
So it didn't seem out of left field. So we applied, we got it all approved, and we were in the process of getting ready to shoot the pilot. And that's right before they took it all away. And ironically, the prosecution came out of Hawaii also, instead of California where we lived. So, and then there was this major, they forced us into a plea, basically bankrupting us. It's a long story, and I've told people on this a lot of times already, but it's the Brady law violations and just the misconduct and the documented lies, and how the prosecutor basically forced our house we bought way before COVID into foreclosure instead of using it as forfeiture. And then 10 days after our sentencing hearing, he basically sent agents out to bid on the property at the foreclosure sale with the money that we had already been seized, or the money that got paid back on the loan, because the loan was pretty much 90% paid back, because we didn't spend it, because it was all sitting into an account for this TV project Ohana, minus what thought we were allowed to pay ourselves to live. So yeah, we're talking about a $1.3 million loan, and 1.1, a little over 1.1 was already paid back on it.
Wow.
So the judge just, didn't know what was going on, because only one side of the audience was talking, and that was the prosecutor, because our attorneys didn't do jack shit. And, gave Aaron 27 months, gave me 36. So,
wow.
Then and there, I knew at that hearing, I'm like, at the sentencing hearing, I'm like, I need to get to Trump. Like he's seen what's happened. I've listened to his interviews saying how the justice system is a corrupt system. They'll force you into a plea, because they'll be like, you're looking at 30 years or 3. So it was a whole shit show, and there's so much stuff on it. And I mean, Mike's situation is, I mean, it's a different industry, but it's pretty much the same.
Yeah,
it's the same. That's the similarities that we've uncovered with this group is basically same blueprint, different industry. It's just how can we steal from them? How can we twist the truth? How can we destroy them on the media? You know, and let's go after everything they have so they can keep it and pay themselves.
Yeah. Well, we had a plea deal too, as a matter of fact, going back to that situation. They didn't really make it on paper or make it formal, but Greenberg and some of his associates were given a chance to sing like a stool pigeon and run the Trump administration under the bus. And to make a very long story short, Mike says that he was essentially told that if he would agree that Trump was behind Russiagate, the Russian interference in the election, and had his finger on the 2018 election and all this other bad stuff, they would reduce his sentence to 4 years, like they did some other characters. But he said, go pound sand. He says, I'm single. You know, I don't have any kids. You know, leave me alone. I'm going to stand up for Donald Trump. And that really hasn't made a difference yet, but I think he did the right thing.
No, I agree. And I guarantee you Roger Stone would agree too. Obviously, his views on the Russiagate bullshit in his terms. I mean, he did the same thing. I think they were trying to do that to him. And he said, you know, he got convicted. But I mean, obviously, Trump knows him very well, and he was able to get past that. But I think that's just the route you need to start focusing on is he stood up. He stood up. He did not cave.
He was a hero, yeah.
Like all those other people for not the Russiagate, but even all the, what was it? I mean, I know Trump just pardoned. There was like 50 something people like were for all the who were speaking out against the 2020 election, how they all either did plea deals or they were fighting it. And I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Like I think you need to magnify Mike's loyaltism.
Yeah, the American hero bit, yeah. We've talked about that, and one thing that's worked well for us lately is to go more of a grassroots direction. And we started having meetings and working. We're going to work the Republican convention here in Texas, which has about 10,000 credentialed people. So we're going to do a lot more, you know, working person to person. Where before we were trying to do more of an aerial assault and, you know, work it behind the scenes. And we had Aaron Reitz, who's running for Attorney General here in Texas, but he was in the Trump administration for a glorious 1 month. But fortunately, he worked for the DOJ, and he gave a briefing on Mike's situation. But that's about as far as it got. But you know, things like that. But we hadn't really did what we should have done first, and that's work person to person, and that's really worked well for us. Like you said, I think you're absolutely right. We need to kind of promote the American hero a bit and get people behind it and saying, yeah, this is what happened. And Mike, probably the same thing for you. I mean, I know the clock's running out in your situation, but have they made any plea deals yet? Have they made you an offer you can't refuse?
No,
Mike
we pled not guilty. I went to trial. I pled not guilty.
Okay, so you did go to trial. Okay.
So I'm being sentenced on April 15th.
Okay.
And my lawyers are telling me that, you know, be prepared because we're going to file an appeal, but they're probably going to want to put you in just because who they are.
Yeah. Well, not inevitable, but yeah, the clock is running out for sure. We'll see if we can get that article written. Let's do it.
More the merrier. I mean, I got a lot of traction. I had the Gateway Pundit put one out on me, and, you know, I've gotten a lot of action from it.
Yeah.
So I think
Jim's been great with American Gulag, and that project has been wonderful.
The more press we can get, the better. You know, but not just for me. I think for everybody in this group. I think either one article and then little other articles, and there's a lot of material there. I think, Andy, for you.
Oh, yeah. Probably write a book on it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like Dr. Ron said the other day when we had him on, like we're all part of this basically fucked up fraternity.
Yeah. We didn't want to meet, but we met, and you know, and I met some great people that, you know, that are going through the same stuff, and we found this common thing that we can relate through, and it's we're all Republican. Like, I mean, that's what else do we have in common? What do I have in common with Chris, who's in California, other than how we would have became friends and do this podcast if it wasn't just targeted by the Biden communist regime? Like I said,
you got me here in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
Just spanning coast to coast.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess we're all part of the Sigma FU fraternity, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what kind of noise have we made so far? I mean, I heard about some billboards. I've heard about some radio ads. What else can we do?
So yeah, like I said before meeting everybody else, the way I got to Alice Marie Johnson was I put a billboard up by her house in Olive Branch, Mississippi, even though I knew she was in DC, and then put a press release out about it and was able to basically get to her, and I was able to get her email address at the White House, so intake one that she uses for sending basically clemency packets, like requests.
Wow.
So that was really cool. And then prior to that, the way I was able to, I think outside the box, I met Roger Stone through Cameo. I literally just, instead of asking him for a birthday or anniversary message, I told him what was going on, and he canceled it, didn't want my money, and gave me his cell phone number. So
that's awesome.
We started that like a year ago. Like I think it was around February, March of last year. And then he was very, like, you hear stories of Roger, and I mean, you see him post on X, and you never want to be on his bad side. And I'm thankful that I never have been and never will be, because everything he says is usually true. Like, it is true. Like, he'll make stuff, and then you'll find out a week later or a month later or whatever, like, oh, he was right. Like, so he knows this world, and he took compassion for Aaron and I and put out an article, had me on his radio program.
That's great.
So it was a good time, but it was also, when Trump's president, there's so much news and so much stuff just can't take off, because the news cycle is like being someone in a memory care system. Like, it just happens so fast, and subjects change so much. And he tried as hard as possible, and then I still had the idea for billboards, so then I put one up by Mar-a-Lago, and that's when I started running the TV commercials. And then after that's when Mike and I met, and then he added me to the group on X, and I was just kind of looking at it for like a week or two. I didn't really interact, and I said, you know what, like, I think we need to all group together, like, kind of community over competition. And basically that's when I had the idea for that last video, where we all kind of said, you know, the same lines, and I ran that one actually nationally, but on it was like on 5 different right-leaning stations and apps.
Yeah, one of my in-laws saw that and asked me if we were on board with that. I said, oh, yeah, I'm behind the scenes. I just had COVID when they were getting it all together, so I kind of missed the train on the website and everything. But
well, if you still send me
last time,
if you email us, you can even just do it to the one we sent you the link for the show. I can add, like, if you want to do a write-up and stuff, I'll just add it to the site. Even if you weren't on the commercial, there's still people that weren't on I hate calling it a commercial, but like on the spot.
That's right.
I'll add it so it's on there. So, because we're pushing that and giving links to that site. I mean, we just gave Silk from Diamond and Silk this morning more people to hopefully push on to her show, because she had Dr. Ron on last night. Like, and she's definitely got a bigger audience than we do right now. So,
I'd say
she's got a good following. She's very tight with the president. So I think it's an opportunity for us. You know, if she wants to embrace us, she's the one that can lead us. She's the one that brought the ocean for us to walk across.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what we need. And maybe you, that you're a journalist, and put something out every other day on honest. Doesn't have to be anything a long drawn out article. Just we're doing this and releasing an episode every other day to see if somebody gets their eyes on it.
Okay.
So I think if we get maybe your side, since you're the journalist in the group, or maybe anybody in Mike Shirley's Rolodex from his old Rolodex, you never know. Maybe somebody can lead to something.
Absolutely.
We've
got people working in the White House right now, but you find out that things are shut down. I mean, everybody's scared of each other. And the good news is, I like Susie Wiles. I think she's a competent administrator, but she's essentially the president if you look at it. She's the one she's the gatekeeper at the White House. But she's retiring at the end of the month. So the whole entire dynamic might shift. And some of these contacts we already have might be able to speak up, or they might get promoted or have a freedom to speak where they didn't before.
She's done?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
I was told that she cares.
Yeah. And it's also a matter of priorities. And like I said, the news cycle, every day it's been something different. That's by design. You got to keep the hype cycle going. And Trump has been very good at finding something to kind of sprinkle out every couple of days. And so I guess you're wise to do a podcast every couple of days. But maybe some of these pardons are being held out. Like whenever there's a dry week and they don't have much to do, or something gets pushed off, they can drop a couple of pardons here and a couple of pardons here. A lot of presidential administrations have done that. And as someone pointed out on I think a tweet group we're on, they often do that a lot more toward the end of an administration.
Well, yeah, traditionally most presidents do their mass pardons when they're on their way out, because
correct.
I don't think they want the heat, but obviously Trump doesn't care about the heat, and he's seen
a little bit. He wants clout. So yeah,
I think he's seen that there's so many people that were loyal to him, that he was persecuted, that were persecuted for being loyal to him. He just hasn't found out that there's so many more.
Yeah. There's a lot more, and he's not even aware of it, I don't think. And, how much can a president keep on his shoulders? I mean, it's like Atlas, right? I mean, he can't possibly keep everything in mind. He's not Santa Claus, So It's just a matter of making it a priority and making sure his people, know it's hot. And so this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I think that's why we wanted to, it's hard to get on, like you said, news media, different outlets. So, okay, let's just create our own.
There you go. Yeah, it's not the 1990s anymore. Come on.
Yeah.
But Trump's going to essentially be a lame duck after November. I mean, not a complete lame duck, but that's when the lame duckness begins. I think that's why he's been working so feverishly the last 2 years, and he can't have another term. So he's got 2 years where his returns will be diminished. Though we expect to have some more Democrats in the House and the Senate, so it might be a lot harder for him to get anything done. And they're aware of this. So that may be a good news for us in some ways. I hope so. But I don't see why you can't just turbocharge it and get it done. I mean, we've got how many people working on pardons right now? We got Eagle Ed Martin. We've got a special pardon czar underneath him. We got somebody in the White House now. It's like you got so many staffers that can get all this backlog taken care of, but for some reason they're not. And I think it's just because people are afraid to step out of line. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and Team Trump has been very careful, very disciplined in how they sprinkle out, the conflict of the day. So I don't think anybody wants to really be off message or be perceived that way. And Trump's no fool. He sees any dissent or defection as a very personal, and you end up on the outside very quick if you don't step in line.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've heard that there's roughly 2,000 pardons that are literally at the White House being vetted, and that was about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but if anybody at the White House is watching this, successful administrations know how to keep a culture of communication alive, and you've got to listen to your underlings. You've got to have the lines of communication open. You got to let them speak freely and speak frankly. And Donald Trump, of anybody, should understand that, Mr. Speak frankly to the nation. So I think that's that's very important. And if anybody, again, is thinking, okay, I'm going to put my job at risk, I'm going to put my career at risk, my family at risk, well, do it. You're serving the public. You're standing on 250 years of America. I mean, think about what we put on the line just to get this country. Do it, do it, do it. Don't be afraid of your job. You're serving the public. We're paying you. Be brave and set a better example. Let's communicate a little bit.
They're afraid the persecution is going to come after he leaves.
I think that could be scary.
I think that's what it is, because it's like Susan Rice said last week. If you if you're MAGA, we're coming for you after he leaves. So what I mean? Are there so many that probably have gotten away with everything, and now all of a sudden he's there to clean house, and they find ways from blocking things from him. There's ways there's so much going on that there's ways to block things from getting to him. He's not auditing every department. He's not.
No.
The federal government's such a big machine, and it's been operating obviously not efficiently for decades, if not longer. So to fix that machine, I can understand it's not going to happen overnight.
No,
but I think I'm hoping they're trying to do that.
We need a good rescission bill. Doge was a good first step, but to really get there, it needs a rescission bill to reduce the size and scope of the federal government. And again, Donald Trump's done more than anybody since Reagan, and Reagan did a lot too. But Donald Trump is just gone heads and shoulders above everybody. But we still have so far to go. I mean, I would say what Doge did, we need about 80% more effort to really even reduce the government by just 5%. I think what we ended up doing was we took the federal spending down maybe 5%, and that was made up for very quickly with attacking Iran. So here we go. It's like, how much are we really doing? And it's just going to take Congress and the president to pull together. We saw that in the mid 90s just for a little bit. We balanced 4 federal budgets in a row. We launched the space station, for crying out loud. We did some great stuff, but that was as close as we ever got to a real conservative, fiscally restrained government. And we only had a small window of that. And imagine if we can have it again. But it looks like, I don't know, hopefully Americans will wake up and we'll have that again.
Yeah. It's just, I can understand just the process that's got to take. So let's get back to your buddy, Mike.
Yeah, sorry, you get me off on politics, and
it adds another layer. So there's no problem going off topic. There's no topic. Basically.
Hey, we're Trump allies here. We're safe to pardon, okay? We're all safe people here.
Please. Please, like my son in the back right behind me says, Trump pardon me, please.
I love it.
So
get your name on there too. Go ahead. Sorry, Chris.
Are you able to I know you can call, do a call. Are you able to talk to Mike, give him some support from the outside? Obviously, do you do that? Are you on the?
Oh yeah, we're in regular communication. We've even recorded a couple of podcast episodes. We just haven't released them yet. So things keep changing, and Mike's a very technical guy. He's like, let's go back here. Let's go edit that. Let's go edit that. And when he was in the appeals process, we had to be very careful what we said. But I think we're going to drop that podcast pretty soon. It's going to be called Biden's Last Prisoner. And so we want to have some guests on. Hope to have you guys on. We'll have a great time with it. But we've been trying to do that for the last year or so, but that kind of worked into a weekly phone call. And there's some other ways we talk, minimum security prisons are a little loose like that, but I'll keep that secret. But we do talk a lot, and that's been a blessing. I didn't think I'd get them except for on a payphone, maybe at 6 a.m. in the morning, but we've been able to talk a lot more than I expected. That camp in Miami has a great counseling program. Everybody is assigned a counselor, and you can talk to the counselor and get some special permission to have a group chat or submit some information and give them a little time on the internet. They're really good at working with you, so that's been a real blessing, especially for a lot of us who still depend on what institutional knowledge is locked up in his head. I'm like, Mike, we we need this list, and we don't have it anywhere. And Mike says, oh yeah, I can spit that out. So it's been good to still get some work out of them.
Yeah, and you obviously, I'm sure you're doing the emailing through the core links too.
Yeah, core links has been great. Of course, it's all monitored, so you got to be very careful what you say.
Well, it's all archaic too. It takes about 2 hours each way.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you don't want to say anything that'll be held against you later too. So you kind of have to hold your punches.
They don't have do they have the video calls on there or no?
They do, but it costs money.
Okay, but that his camp actually has it though.
Yes, I believe so.
Every other person we talked to whose husband's been in, they said, oh no, they don't have them there. So I'm curious. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't used it myself, but I saw it as an option. But maybe, yeah.
Pretty neat. Yeah, I mean that's what we use with my wife, so she could see the kids 3 times because you can do 3 times a week. It's 25 minutes.
That's great.
Well, I mean it's not too bad, but yeah, that's a whole different world to think about when you don't have like a spouse or girlfriend or like a partner on the other side, like because he needs money in there, like obviously to go to the commissary or even to use the phone. I mean, I know if he's doing the FSA, which I'm sure, and he's got a job, he gets credits for phone time.
Yeah. Well, we've actually had to fundraise for that too, because a lot of it went straight to attorneys. So we've really had to Give, Send, Go has been a blessing. I think GoFundMe was a little iffy on us at first, but Give, Send, Go called us up and prayed for us. I could not believe it's a ministry too. They called up and prayed. I was like, that's amazing. You guys I love you. So they've been really good. We've raised a couple of $1,000s. That's gone mostly to stamps and, stuff like that. Some of my time, I've lost some job opportunities because I've been focused on this. So I'm doing the gig work lately, but it's all worth it. But yeah, it all goes to calls, and it's amazing how fast that gets drained. You're down $60 just having a couple of phone calls, and
yeah, it's a whole different world in there. And so some of the stories my wife has said, since she was in the female one, but like, it's interesting. I don't know. I'm sure he's told you some interesting stories, but yeah.
Oh yeah, and not being a family member, I can just imagine. He keeps a lot of it private, so look forward to hearing more about what he went through.
Yeah. So, I mean, the advocating you've kind of been done. We kind of tapped on it a little bit, but like, I don't know if you want to share a little more, like just the stuff you have been doing on your end.
Yeah, our Stewart Rhodes event went pretty well. We had it was surprising how many people really had no concept of what was going on. We had a little banner that said Political Prisoners Awareness Day. We have a North Austin Republicans group that can draw in anywhere from 20 to 100 people. So we had it at this big room and had about half the room full. That was good. But it was amazing how many locals, one, were afraid to get wrapped up in it. Like, I don't want to have my boss see me here in front of Stewart Rhodes. He's a militia guy, right? I'm like, well, not really. He's got a patch over his eye, so he looks scary, but he's a hero, and people on the moderate side who were afraid of stepping out of line. And on top of that, folks that really had no clue. Like they said, well, Andy, why are you doing this for? Trump released all the political prisoners already. Don't you know? Haven't you been paying attention? I'm like, hello, have you not read? But there's a cognitive dissonance, and I'll show them freemikeshirley.net. I said, read this. And it's really difficult to go from here to here. I mean, that's the longest distance in the known universe, right? But they just say, no, Trump released all the prisoners. I know that. And if there's anybody still in jail, they probably deserve to be there. And I'm like, listen, read the information. There's a lot more to be done, and there's some J6ers that had priors, and that makes it very difficult. Or Mike has no priors whatsoever. He's just sitting in jail waiting for the next judicial maneuver. It's insane why we're wasting a federal prison cell on a man that has no prior convictions. But that's the kind of stuff that's going on. But again, people don't want to believe it. They don't know, or again, they're afraid to stick their neck out or lose their job. And when you think about how we got this country, like I said earlier, it's really an indictment against us. Would we be able to live the spirit of 1776 today? Could we fight for this country and restart it in 2026? I don't know if I can say that we could, but maybe it takes a circumstance to get us there. Right now, we're just all very comfortable. We've also done some things working on our precinct conventions. That may sound pretty small, but we've gotten hundreds of them to pass a Mike Shirley resolution. And I mentioned some of the others, like Samurai Keone's situation, Kenny Rodriguez.
We had her on, Lauren, the other day.
Yeah, great episode, by the way. Y'all did good on that one. Yeah. And we've done that, and the resolution has really gotten some attention because it has to go to your county convention and then later on the state convention for a platform report. And that has gotten the attention of a lot of people that really, again, have that cognitive dissonance. They're like, oh, yeah, it's already taken care of. And they go, really? Wait, Tina Peters. I've heard of Tina Peters, but that's in Colorado. How does that affect us? And I'm like, oh, but you've got an Austin resident who's in jail right now because of this. And they're like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, there's a lot more to it. But this has caused a good town hall dynamic. And I'm really surprised how well this has raised awareness for us. So hopefully when we get to county conventions later on this month, we'll be able to produce some resolutions that go to the state convention, and we can get a free the political prisoners plank in our Texas Republican platform. I'm also working on the Libertarian Party too, for what that's worth. But any voices we can get, any state parties, I think that might be a good way to get the establishment's attention.
Being that you go to the Republican National Convention, all these conventions for all these things,
yeah,
they need to be reminded that if we're not around, we can't vote. That really needs to be driven home. And if I can't vote because I get put in jail, do you think my wife's going to vote for a Republican? Do you think my parents? Do you think my sister? Do you think my mother-in-law? Everybody who's always voted Republican, they're going to be mad. So the Democrats win again because we might be throwing illegals out and getting them off the list, but they're taking Republicans off by putting them in jail. That's a very, I think, important fact that needs to be baked in there. If we're not saved, we can't vote. Might be a slogan, Chris.
That's good. Yeah, you got to keep that going. No, you're right. We've spent more time, reversing Joe Biden's immigration policies than we have his indictment policies. We need another ICE bureau to take care of the political prisoners, which we DOJ
right,
should
at the same time, it's because to make legal and fair elections. But again, you could close a trickle down effect, right? The 40 people in our group could lead to 500 non-voters throughout the nation. And that's just us. That's just us. What about the stories that we don't know about? It can lead to hundreds of thousands of people just because you put my friend in jail, you didn't pay attention. And it can lead to people turning on Donald Trump, say he's full of shit. Look, he didn't help me. And then he didn't help the regular guy. Oh, he does all these rallies. Yeah, great, whatever. But that's all it takes is the wrong mainstream media to catch a Republican or a MAGA supporter at the wrong stressed out moment that they say something like that, even if they don't mean it, for them to use and run with it. And then it's we're off to the races on the bashing of our movement. And then all you have to do is make one viral video and everybody will see it. And then they'll start the same thing. So this is bigger than just me getting a pardon or Chris getting a pardon and everything else. I think the trickle effect down of supporters of the party is how they're going to kill it.
Man, preach it.
This is stealth right now. Nobody knows about us, kind of, right? Stealth. Nobody knows about the 40 people in our group. Very people.
Yeah, it's a niche, right?
Right. So it's their angle and they're sneaky fox. And the Democrats are sneaky fox, and maybe that's why they don't get. Let's talk about them reporting people, but at the same time, oh, we got this. We put a bunch of them away anyway.
Well, yeah, the Democrats are. I mean, they'll eat their own, and they'll gaslight you left and right because they know they've been doing shit wrong for the beginning of time.
Oh, so. Yeah. It's a different kind of party too. I mean, they often say that it's Pepsi and Coke, but the Democrats are a confederation of special interests, and they keep the incompatible interest away from other incompatible interests, and they just kind of all work together, honor among thieves kind of thing. And the Republicans are the party of principle, but that means we argue a lot and we infight a lot, so that's our downside. And the GOP.
Well, in the Democratic Party now, in the past, I don't even know, 5-10 years, is a different Democratic Party than it was 20 years ago.
Oh, I'd say, yeah. Moral relativism has kind of been
reading-
replaced by a different type of religiosity. I think Dinesh D'Souza called it irreligion. There's like this new morality they're policing, and used to they didn't care how you lived your life. Now they used to kind of be against racism. Now they're for anti-racism. So it's a whole crusading element that the Democrats used to be a little more laissez-faire about.
Yeah, I I was watching the clip with Bill Maher, and he had what's his name? My mind's blanking. Adam Shit is as
Swiffer.
But he was reading this thing about the president's power to go to war, and he read this whole, like, I don't even know, it's like maybe 8 sentences, and he asked Adam, he's like, hey, like, do you think he was overstepping his power? And he's like, oh yes, definitely. And Bill Maher's like, well, this was written by Obama. So these people can't even think for themselves. They just,
every party does it too. I mean, the Republicans too. We've gone flip-flopped on national ID. We're against national ID for a long time, and then we're for it if it gets rid of the illegal immigrants, right? So, everybody does it, but the Democrats make an art out of the flip-flop. It's embarrassing to watch.
Yeah, you listen to Hillary talk or even Obama talk when they were way back when, and they sounded more MAGA than Trump on immigration.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. If there were favors them, sure.
Yeah. But then they realized they knew how to play that system to get their votes. We're in California. I'm like, most of my friends, we're mixed, but the majority of the people I talk to are conservative. So how's California blue?
We'll never underestimate the power of people in large numbers. They exist in pockets. And man, I've been to San Francisco enough to see a very dense concentration of them that might outnumber, say, Eureka or the suburbs outside of Sacramento. There are a lot of different places in California, but the dense pockets are very socialist. The Watts neighborhood is very, very liberal down by LA. So, man, I do not. I don't know. My wife is from the San Francisco Bay Area. She grew up around Hayward and those Bay cities.
East Bay.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, absolutely. But it's crazy. We got a situation involving it's a long it's another judicial situation my family's involved with. But one woke DA is all it took to completely upend 20 years of progress. It's just they don't know what they're doing. But they wake up pretty quick, and they got rid of that woke DA. It was one of the Soros DAs in Alameda County, actually. But the voters woke up real quick and got rid of him. I think Gavin Newsom understands how California works, too. He's only gotten so far before he had to start kind of veering right on a few issues. And, of course, that's pissed off the left and the right. But Arnold Schwarzenegger knew it. California is just, I don't know. It's hot and cold. I do not understand it, but I can definitely see that, Chris, and you have my sympathy.
Yeah, luckily, we're in a little pocket here, but my wife and I don't think we've been to San Francisco in 15 years.
Oh my gosh. Well, it smells bad for one. Yeah. It just smells awful.
Dirty city, yeah. Coming from my work a long time in New York City, I'll tell you, San Francisco's filthy and New York's filthy. Filthy, both is filthy, actually. They actually tied for dirty cities.
That's true. Now, all our cities, Austin's getting that way too. Used to be the cleanest place. You never imagine how 800,000 people can just abide by a social contract and be clean, But all it took was wokeness, the idea of equity. And literally, our last mayor, the one that left, he was on the way out talking about equity and how he needed to spread the misery to the rich neighborhoods. So that's why he allowed homeless camping. That's why he did this and that. So it's a wealth envy that creates this idea that clean and well organized is somehow racist and classist. And
you want the donations from the rich people at the same time.
That's right. Yeah. And that mayor lived at the tip top of the W Hotel downtown Austin. So there you go. He lived in a little bubble, but thought, I can play games with the rest of the city and make it look just like New York and San Francisco. And but worse, he went to San Francisco for ideas on how to handle our homeless problem. So Austin went to crap too, and never would have saw that coming. But there's bad ideas.
Well, that's basically how to funnel money from the homeless problem. Because, I mean, in California here, it's I forget how many billions of dollars. It's in the teens or the 20s or the 30s, and they can't account for it. I think actually, unanimously, the California, Senate and representatives for the state part voted unanimously to audit it, and it went to Newsom, and he vetoed it. Like, he doesn't want anyone to see where the money went. Like. That's very questionable. I'm glad Nick.
Yeah, they work through nonprofits. That's what Saul Alinsky called the third sector. To work through this not private sector, not the public sector, but this little space in between where you can do more and spend the public's money on it. Yeah. So absolutely. And Tom Wolf came by. Tom Wolf out in San Francisco. Look him up. He knows Michael Schellenberger pretty well and those guys. But he was our special guest for a meeting we had on homelessness, and just amazing how much of that has been implemented here in Texas. And it's that non-traceable, non-auditable nonprofit spending.
Yeah. And I think
how much of that goes into
fix homelessness is like basically trying to get someone that's a drug addict, instead of getting them clean, they just continue to give them heroin or something.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder how much of that goes into our prison system, our legal system. I don't know if it's even conscious. It might just be kind of one of those deals where, again, you can't fight City Hall. We all protect each other and honor among thieves. But I can definitely see something more conspiratorial with Homelessness Inc. But our judicial system just blows me away. I don't understand how it can develop into something so convoluted that the regular person just can't be heard. There's no chance. And they say, if you represent yourself, you have a fool for a client. Well, why can't we? Why can't we have an actual jury of our peers and a judge of our peers and make our cases in a common sense, American way? I don't understand why that's not a thing in our country yet. But here we are spending $10,000 just to file an appeals court. It's a pay-to-play system, and I think our founding fathers would shake their heads at it. But then again, they're the ones that gave us lifetime appointments and powdered wigs. So I don't know. Maybe they're working their way out of something too.
Well, Chris did make a point the other day that lifetime appointments back then, they were living until 50, 60 years old, not 90. I mean,
At 48, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Or the times like inflation, they need to look at it that way.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, we got a lot of work to do. I'm all about writing some more articles. Let's definitely make some noise. And but a lot of things I've run into is just paying for the bills, paying for the family still. Since Mike's not my next of kin, it's a little hard to justify that. So I find myself working part-time. And if I could raise some more funds, find us on givesendgo.com/free Mike Shirley, by the way. If I could raise some more funds, man, I could do this full-time and have a great time doing it. Be some happy warriors for Mike. But it's just really hard, especially when you're not fighting for your survival. I mean, Keone's wife is doing a great job, but she's fighting for survival, and y'all are fighting for it. Mike, you're fighting for your very freedom. And but some of us friends, we're fighting with very limited resources, and our spouses are all like, come on, man, get back to work, Andy. Come on, dishwasher needs loading. It gets a little hard to find your time, but we just got to find better ways to delegate and bring more people in. And that has not been easy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, yeah.
Don't give up, guys. Don't give up.
No, this is just, I don't want to say the beginning, but like Roger Stone, you're only defeated. You're not defeated when you, what's the quote again? You're not finished when you're defeated. You're only finished when you quit.
Hmm.
I have a post. He sent me a picture with that quote he signed. So
Yeah, I like that. You
and
can fool me, but you can't fool me again, right?
So yeah, I mean
that's a good quote. Good quote.
Mike and I wanted to do this and have as many people. We're having people reach out to us through email. I mean, maybe we should plug it. Like if you're watching this and you have a family member or yourself or anybody like that, like email us at targetedshow@gmail.com. Right? That's right, Mike. That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
The targetedshow@gmail.com. Yep.
The Targeted Show. Yeah.
Yes, the Targeted Show.
But yeah,
want to write about us, Andy, on one of your blog, The Show? I mean, I think we need as many eyes on us, because looking at one story, one situation opens the door to every story. It just has to happen. And unfortunately, I'll say there's some B-list podcasters that now become top guys or whatever. And now they forgot that, their affinity and followers and people, President Trump led them to where they are. Now they're too big, they're too important to even care about the people and that seems to be the trend, so what do we have to do? We have to make sure that we have to care about us, because it protects our families, our friends, everybody, to get the story out there. And I think it's imperative that somebody needs to get eyes on this, because like I said, if we're not going to be able to vote. If we can't vote, and because of it still falls as being, oh my God, it was done to him under the Trump administration and he was a Trumper all the way. Must be bad. That's all it takes.
That's true. And maybe a lesson for us not to forget if one of us gets popular or famous or in a position of power. And I've worked for a few state agencies, and the temptation is there to start laughing at the grassroots, and somebody calls up angry about chemtrails in the sky, and you're like, ah ha ha. The temptation is there to laugh them off, and next time somebody calls up, you go, what do you want? But we can't lose sight of the people who pay our bills and put us in power. And it happens so easily. You get there and you first find yourself in a triage position. You get there and you're thinking, okay, I've only got so much time today. I've got 8 hours to get this done. I got a bunch of superiors breathing down my neck. The governor wants this done by Thursday, and I don't have time for all this. So you triage the non-serious for the serious, and then you're dismissing whole swaths of legitimate cases, legitimate complaints. But our congressional offices, our public service office, anything that deals with the public, facing the public, needs to do a better job at taking calls and doing basically a CRM or I don't know what the corporate speak for that is anymore, but where you track the complaints and put together the similar ones and begin to see the trends and then track them more efficiently. That needs to be done in government. But I've really found that calling a lot of congressional offices, especially asking for letters of recommendation for a pardon, they just don't follow up very well. And you get that same, that sigh when they pick up the phone. Congressman so-and-so's office, what do you want? They're not saying it that way, but you can hear it in their voices. So we've got to get to the point to where constituent service is taken seriously again in this country. And as long as we're paying for it, man, we better stand up for it. And perhaps that should be a campaign issue in every elected campaign from here on out. How are you going to handle the crank calls and the crazy calls, and then how are you going to handle the serious calls that have no media influence? Those are all very good questions, and I don't think anybody has the 100% right way to approach it. But at the same time, I don't know, we pay these people to represent us and hear our cases and work with the public, and that's just happening less and less and less the further we go in the future. That's sad to watch.
Yeah, it's just been forgotten.
It is.
Yeah. By the way, we wrote every Republican member of the Texas congressional delegation. We wrote them and called them, followed up, hit their satellite offices, had a former city council member in Austin write them. We heard back from John Cornyn. We heard back from Ted Cruz. and we finally heard back from John Carter, but it took us several months. Everybody else, all 34 or so, not a response at all. And that's a fellow Republican. And a matter of fact, we worked with some of them before. So it's really embarrassing when you think about it. Not even a letter, not even a Xerox copy of a letter you send to pardon seekers. Nothing like that at all. So a lot of work to do, certainly bigger than us guys. I don't think we ever need to feel like we're tooting our own horn or, yeah, Mike, you can just do some time and take it on the chin. No. This is about the future of our very republic. And if we don't do something now, then we're going down the wrong path.
Exactly.
I agree. Hey, Chris, maybe Andy could write that letter that we were talking about the other day.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So we were trying to, so back to the idea of the whole we can't vote type of thing. We were trying to put like a blanket letter for the group. Basically stating what I said. If you can't, we're not going to be able to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we have to be, sometimes you got to talk to politicians like they're children. So if it relates to them and relate the trickle effect, we send it, email it, mail it again, email it again. You know, if we could all do that in all the various states that we are, well, Chris is going to have a tough time with that, but, you know, but in all the various states that we are, just email the Republican Party, the headquarters, and this and that. You're going to get to the point that you're going to get 10 of the same letters showing up in the same day or in the same week or the same 2 or 3 day span, and you're finally going to bound to get somebody's attention.
I agree. Somebody's going to at some point. Or when you call them, they say, yeah, we heard about you. You know, so you don't have to explain the whole situation again. You can just kind of start off and say, okay, what is it?
I think we should put that letter sooner rather than later.
Okay,
so
great.
Everybody could start punting it out, because I think that's the important part. Punting out that letter. Hit them where it hurts. It's going to hit. It hurts with the midterms. It hurts with the vote, and it hurts with donations. Right? We don't want to put donations in a letter because even though they all want them, we say something we can't support. Our people, they're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Do this is like the secret conspiracy that you know, while you guys are worried about immigration, they're limiting us to vote. So it's going to balance out anyway.
If you just let me know, give me a draft of whatever you got in mind, and we'll write it.
I don't have a draft. That's what I'm. You're the journalist, so that's what I'm going to you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to send an email to you right now to thetargetedshow@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do that right now as soon as we get off, and we'll get that one rolling.
I'll send you what I think, and then maybe we can come up with something sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And what we ought to do is we ought to come up with like little 15-second elevator pitches for each of our situations, you know, little one sentence tags, and be able to just spit it out there. Because, you know, we're going to have maybe 15 seconds to talk to somebody in an actual elevator or on a plane or something. And we're going to sound absolutely crazy unless we're like, okay, we got polished and ready to go. So, you know, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to come to DC pretty soon and hopefully make the rounds. And, you know, I've got to have that pitch ready. I've got to have the names memorized, and they got to just kind of flow off my tongue. And so that letter would be a good first step, I think, to making everybody familiar with each one of these situations, which are all complicated in their own ways. But if we're able just to find a way to very shortly and succinctly describe it, that's the best way forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Chris, once Erin's home, she could travel wherever she wants, right?
Oh, no.
No?
Yeah.
I was going to say, send her to DC too, to walk the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she'll have to request it under supervised release, but still, they're going to lock her in for 3 years after that, basically.
So, let's see.
Sorry about that,
What is
guys.
that idea?
Yeah, we're praying for you too. I got a few churches I serve, and they're all praying for our list, and I got us all up there. So don't forget that the good Lord's still watching over us, and maybe he's got some kind of bigger plan. I don't know.
I think bringing us all together was his plan, and
Hmm.
keep us fighting together for his cause.
That's right.
But I need him to keep me free so I can keep fighting for him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, if Trump saw your background there, he'd know you're an ally. If anybody listened to the show, they know we're not, just kissing up. Gosh, I'm afraid we'll have a Democrat White House, but even then, it shouldn't be Republican or Democrat. It's just simply a matter of rule of law. What law did we break? None of us broke any laws.
No.
Or at least not. Even if we did, it ought to be a slap on the wrist. Gee, did you know that the Securities and Exchange Commission doesn't like this? Okay, bad Andy. Bad Mike. Right?
What we broke? We believed in a businessman that could change our country. That's what we did, and he exposed everybody. And the more he keeps trying to expose them, the more they want to hurt him.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Think about it. If he would have lost that election, I wouldn't be here for sure. Right now, I would not be here.
4 more years of Joe Biden, or not Joe Biden. 4 more years of Joe Biden's people, and the Easter Bunny, leading them around the stage. Yeah. That's right. And but we've never were designed to have a king take care of all this. That's what this has shown me. That Trump can't do it all. It takes all of us. Our Articles of Confederation had no real president. We had a president of the Continental Congress, but there was no president when our country was founded. And one man can't do it all, and he ought not to. The White House should be handling just a few certain things, and pardons among them, of course. But I think that it just shows how big government has gotten and how we, the people, have let it happen. But man, we got to do something on a bigger level.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think that's a good sentence to end this on.
All right, that's true.
The words of wisdom right there for us.
I can go on and on. It's been about an hour and 30 minutes, and we got work to do.
But yeah, thank you for coming on. And
thank you, gentlemen. Sorry, I had to borrow a chair here in the corner just to beam in on. So not the most professional, but I had a great time today.
No, yeah, we greatly appreciate it. And yeah, thank you, everybody. And we'll see you on the next episode.
All right.
Bye.
Catch you later.